They call the meeting to order. All are here. We've got Alderman Craig Gun Strickland is with us via the phone. We've got our we've got Melissa Martin and Rocky Eaton with us. So if I could, I'll get Craig Bullock to say the prayer and lead us in the pledge.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the privilege to be here, the honor to be here. Just thank you for the privilege to live in this wonderful town. God, I pray that as we meet tonight, that the decisions we make will be with wisdom in mind. God, we ask you for that wisdom. Thank you for everyone who's here. Thank you for travel mercies, and we ask for those as we leave and depart. And forgive us where we fail you. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the important decision of which glasses I want to actually wear. But anyway, let's get rolling. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to accept the consent agendas 1 through 3?
Motion.
Discussion. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize what the privilege license report is. It's the, basically it's a report of all the businesses in our city. And I know, we always get input from the mayor from, they say there's a couple of new guys that are not part of the city. What was interesting in this month was that not only not only was Arby's as is a new business, but Flat House was basically their approximately 20 years, and with that name. And a lot of times we look too much on new businesses versus celebrate and recognize, those who've been here for a long time. So we're Jeff and Heather, who are just a tremendous asset to our team. And like I said, they do a lot for our city. We got a lot of new people at the pedal that don't realize that when they're just over there off of North Main. And think about it, they're worldwide, and they go to Buc-ee's. Not only go to South America, but Europe, but their product goes everywhere. And so, as we celebrate new businesses, I like to, I just saw that they came up. This is their yearly where they pay their $60 for a business license, whatever it is. But it's I think we ought to celebrate some of these businesses that are here that are basically what makes pedal. So that's all. More of a speech, but just celebrating Jeff and Heather's input and help to the town here. So
Good catch. Yeah, they're a fantastic operation. Very, very proud to have them here in town. All right, I've got a motion, got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's you, Steve?
It's been good enough.
All righty, public comment, we have some. Jay Riley?
This isn't about minding our problems. This is about something bigger with the city. I've been coming up to homeless people and eating everything at my house. A lot of people don't like to associate. But we have a bigger problem coming in our city right now, and it's called heroin and the meth situation. There's 2 houses in this town right now. Last week, there was one man OD twice in that one house. Then they shot up 2 other females, and they OD, but they got it back to life. The thing is, they need to stop it. There's one person going around that's literally shooting up these girls, like one that came up missing not too long ago.
Yeah.
He would shoot up that girl and have his way with her. That's what he does to all these girls. He got a hold of an 18-year-old girl. A friend of mine I went to school with 20-something years ago.
You know who some of these people are?
Yes, sir, I know every single one of them.
I don't know.
And I've had to,
Since we are on YouTube, I don't know.
I've had
Let's say
to write them off.
Anything beyond that,
They
is
have come at me.
there any way, if you would write down names, obviously we would look into anything
I'll
that,
go ahead and head with them. I've already had to go ahead.
no, I ain't talking about them, I'm talking about you give us the names of the people that are doing
I have
that.
no problem with that.
Okay.
They have come to my house and threatened me, and I have fought them off.
Yeah.
And these
Obviously,
people I've known.
something to me, and obviously call the police department, but,
I called the police department, they have hung up on me.
yeah, well, normally they're gonna check, well, every time,
We
they're gonna
still
check,
have one
they're
more
gonna,
missing
they're gonna
person.
check into it.
I've checked into every jailhouse around here for one more missing person. And her name's Pam. She's a little, the police know her, she's a little off the wall. But somebody needs to find her.
Chief, could we get him a sheet of paper and a pen, get him to give us some names?
Sure.
If you
I'll
want to do
have
it.
no problem.
You gotta give us a.
I've got it right here, I've got a
Yeah,
piece of
get
paper
with
right
them
there.
and
You got that.
Yeah.
They're all simple. They
Step,
all
step
come
right out,
out.
you can use the front counter out there, and write that down and get that to us, and we'll look into it for sure.
But I would also like to
Obviously, we don't want to,
ask for help. Men with eating dog pound, problems, whatever. I'm in a lot of pain, but the point is with my child, there was a court case before that case with my child that Mr. Eaton said that he could not provide witnesses. That court was November 17th, 2021. Well, the court case that Judge Bonds got in for Judge Reed gave me contact order November 19th, 2019. Officer Jeremy Brown was in there.
okay, if you would, just step right outside and get us some of those
They
names,
gave me a
and
contact
I'll
order and it
I'll-
my child.
I'll personally get with the PD and see what we can do.
They committed perjury to get my child and I got all the proof.
All right, appreciate it, Jay.
They caught me my child.
All right, XL by 5, come on up here. Who in the world?
Hi, and good evening. Good to see all of you. I'm here for one reason tonight, and that's to say a big thank you for the support that, for your continued support of XL by 5 and the work we do to support our families with our youngest children. In fact, Petal would not be an XL by 5 community had it not been for the city's support in 2004, when we first began the XL by 5 process. It was required. That was one of the requirements. Now there are close to 40 XL by 5 communities across the state. It was a requirement. It is still a requirement that your city is on board with this. It's not just a group of people. It has to have the city leaders' support. So I definitely want to say thank you for that. I also want to, it was, if it had not been for that support in 2004, we would not be an XL by 5 community. It was required that you have that. And then in 2007, as you might recall, we became Mississippi's very first XL by 5 community. Now, 18 years later, from when we first began this process in 2022, we recently celebrated our 5th recertification with our big celebration. And thank you so much to those of you who were there and who helped to support that community-wide event. I would be remiss if I did not especially thank you on behalf of the XL by 5 Coalition for the financial support that the city has provided to XL by 5. We received that first support in 2008, and we have received that support every year since that time. Now, I think this is the kind of thing that shows not only our community, but it's shown our state that Petal is unique in so many ways. But I think in this instance, it shows that we have city leaders who are looking beyond the immediate. Now, certainly you do that all the time. You're looking at daily, probably moment by moment needs in the community. But with the support that you're giving to our families and young children, you're looking way into the future. In fact, you're looking at setting the stage right now for the future that we will have in years to come. So I certainly want to thank you, for that. Now, Petal XL by 5 has actually received state recognitions. We've received some regional, recognitions. We've even received, a national recognition for our work that we're doing to support our families and young children. Now, while those plaques and those recognitions, as you well know, those are meaningful and they're important. What really and truly matters to our city, though, is that we have leaders that believe that supporting in young families and young children is a wise investment for our future. So I would definitely want to just reiterate again, thank you for all that you've done to support our work. I do want to just mention, we're still working on our playground. I know that's something that we've come before you to talk about as well. We're still working on that, on the funding for that. In fact, the Duck Derby is going to be coming up again in August. And in the event you have not adopted any ducks, we'll be happy to get you some adoption forms for that.
Lenny, do you have any back there?
I'm sure she has them in her
I'm wondering about that.
Janice
we look forward to continuing, this close relationship that we have with you as our city leaders. We thank you again for that. We have a real small token of our appreciation that we want to present to you. Me and Jana and Valerie, some of our XL by 5 coalition
Greg, you can go ahead and
members
give Steve yours.
Craig, don't do that now.
That's my purpose every year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Get a picture of all of us.
Jana, let her get a picture of
Hey, gang, I'm gonna get us all here in the middle, we'll get a picture with everybody. Maybe.
So Craig, I'll split it.
I don't know where we are.
Oh, it's at the best. Yeah, don't come, Craig. Yes, I do.
How many more do we have?
Tony, we'll keep you, maybe I'll.
Yeah, I'll give it.
Yeah.
No, I guess he's saying.
That's how we're gonna get this. Oh, you want me?
You wanna hold them?
Where'd it go?
Hold that one.
And show it off, so we can see how.
Don't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my copy.
You have
For the marriage.
Come on, Lenny, I hope that's Can you see?
That's all right.
They
much rather see.
I'm not sure my lips.
Now, wait, see, yeah, you can see right now.
Awesome, good deal, thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Somebody needs to open it up and look inside the book, okay?
Oh, the mayor. Tell Craig rolling up it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's easy to do.
She's a master at happy.
Ladies, before you leave, let me say something if I may. In 2007, the year Petal became, or XL 55, we became the first community with that. I was serving my last year in the state legislature, and I had the privilege of presenting a proclamation of recognition to the House of Representatives about the XL by 5 and how Petal was the first one in Mississippi. And that, let me say this, they have done such an excellent job year after year after year. And you ask our primary principals, primary school principals and our kindergarten teachers what difference it makes in the children that come up through the school system when they start school. There's a huge difference in the work that you've done with our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would echo that too, the work that you guys have done. I was looking at some information about the ratings of our school compared to the surrounding area, and it's always, I know you guys wouldn't accept anything less, but it takes a lot of work, and we do appreciate that, and it is noticed. So we encourage you just to do twice as much as you're doing now, and we'll be in a perfect spot. It's great to partner with a winning team.
Right.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much.
Those were the packages that somebody said like that. And then please remember the.
That's what I make of
Y'all, it should be in your boxes, right?
Yes. Yeah, I got mine already.
Right. No proclamation, resolution. Number 4, requesting to adopt the resolution assessing cleanup costs of the following properties. 214 East 6th Avenue, 300 West 7th Avenue, 400 Smith Street, and 410 Smith Street, all at 177. Is there a motion?
Just session. Just, how deep are we into these? Is this the first iteration for these?
First round for these?
I know we have a
Probably be an Amy.
Amy. Oh,
Here she
she
comes.
was right there. She's right
They
there.
have several.
This is repetitive cleanups that we've asked.
At least twice a year.
Mayor, I make a motion, or I like to move to pin that to where, not only do we assess it, but we actually send it to the Forest County Tax Assessor for,
Oh, they,
for the selling of this lien 1 year, not as part of lien, but where they actually sell the property. Stuff that we learned down in MML,
It goes to the tax collector.
not only for annotation against, for past taxes, but you can actually sell, she can sell the property for our tax lien. Not
Oh,
for,
you.
yeah, that's, we learned that down in MML, so that's the process where we want to try a different process where instead of just continue to levy taxpayer money against someone's property and never realizing that
They pay it when they pay, whenever somebody pays the tax. It gets paid. If
it does.
downside, yeah, that's the downside is it makes a property that's already not selling even more unsellable.
But when they do that process and when they levy it and you only sell our lien, then it's in the clear. And so then it can go back on the rolls and it can become a property that can be a vital part of this instead of, again, an eyesore. You know, so if we've had properties that we continue to assess and continue to clean up every year, it seems kind of ridiculous that we don't use all tools that we have to go ahead and transfer, let someone else buy the property and make something out of it. So,
Drew, can you articulate a little bit, exactly what are you asking that we contact to? And just a little more clear for me.
Well, the requirement is that you have to send it, and it has to be accepted by the tax assessing office to sell the property for your actual damage or your lien, your actual lien. This is not a tax lien. These are liens based on, basically our damages, our costs.
So you wanted to turn this into a tax lien?
No, it does not turn into a tax lien. It's a lien that's, they have to pay, because this is not a tax. This is a penalty. And they sell these, there's a process that the county assessors can actually put on the rolls. When they also do the rolls for tax sales, they can also do properties like this. This is discussed out in MML.
Well, they do it like when I send this to the tax collector, he'll put it on there to collect those taxes, and if it goes to the tax sale, he'll get that. But like 214 West 6th, we have like a $5,000 lien on that house that never got put to the tax collector. It's just sitting over there in the transfer building. But I was buying that for $5,000.
When you process it through this process, for fees,
Yeah.
it
That
basically
177 would be collected.
it takes precedence over other. So if we have properties that continue to assess one time, twice a year for 10 years, 5 years, and those properties will always be like that. I mean, because it seems like we're in a do loop here, and we have lots of properties that are blighted that neighbors are not, are problems with. Why don't we use that? That's one of the tools we can use, and now it takes Forest County tax assessing offices to accept and do that, because it's not just a simple tax sale, because it's not a tax sale. These are actually penalty sales that they do in conjunction with those tax sales. And they take precedence and priority over over a tax sale. Does that make sense?
Okay. We'll talk with Zach about it and see what,
I know what you're saying, Drew. You're basically wanting to foreclose the lien.
Yes.
You don't want the figure to be out there growing, you want it foreclosed upon, and we do need to give the tax collector and assessor.
Yeah, they're the ones that do the process. They still have to do all the legwork, and so it's still their decision whether they want to do that for us. But if we don't at least ask, then we never have that option.
And get some clarity on what we need to do to make that happen.
Yes.
all right.
Just use that education MML.
Yeah, we'll check with Zach and see what they've got going on that side of it, but it would be nice to make these more productive properties. Already got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no bids and quotes, no old business, now the fun stuff. Number 5, Slaughter and Associates. Come on up here, Richard.
Hey,
Just some
before you find
background,
out Springfield's not in mine.
After, every 10 years, we do a census, so after 2020 census, we have to check and redraw our lines, basically, so some folks are gonna end up in a different ward, basically, what we're talking about.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Ford. The Mayor said, my name is Richard Donovan. I'm a senior planner with Slaughter and Associates. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I am gonna go through a brief presentation to bring up a few things that I know you've heard when Mike's been here before. And then we'll talk about the plan, the consultant plan. This is basically our first go at getting you into balance. By no means is this something that we're saying adopt, you're stuck with. We're still in the draft process. Changes can be made. So any feedback you have on it, I'm more than happy to take, and we'll see what we need to do. The first thing I do want to mention to you, and I apologize for this, the map in the back of your packet. I noticed it says benchmark, or the mayor brought it up to me, it says benchmark. So it's not the consultant one plan. I'm going to send to your city clerk first thing in the morning that consultant one plan, so y'all can have a copy of it, as well as this big map that is the consultant one plan here for you as well. I apologize for that, but we'll make sure that consultant one plan gets to you, so you have it in map form, in a PDF, and if you want hard copies, we'll be more than happy to send those down as well. So I'm going to start off on page 2. This is just a little refresher of the steps we're going through in the redistricting process. We're doing a little bit of step 2, and step 3 tonight is a little bit of public awareness on what this consultant plan says, and then developing a new plan, which this would be a new plan for the city, or as I've said, we can adopt, we can make changes, and there can be other plans for the city to consider as well. And then on page 3, this just shows your official census numbers from 2010, 2020, and then the post-annexation, after that little bit of area was affirmed by the Supreme Court in 2020, we had to account for that as well, which added about 16 people to the city in total. And then on page 4, this just shows a breakdown of how that annexation affected the city's racial composition. So along with preserving one man, one vote, making sure that the city's preserving that, we also take a look at preserving the racial composition of each of the wards to as close to as what they are in the benchmark plan as possible, without making any changes that could affect minority voting strength in a ward. And then on page 5 is really the reason we're here in consultation with this map. And this shows, this table is similar to the one you saw in the benchmark plan. What we're trying to do here is get an ideal population, or get a total population in each of your wards that's as close to the ideal population as possible. Just so you kind of know how we looked at it, 1, 2, 3, and 3. We're all within the 5% range to be 10%, within 10% of the highest and lowest ward to preserve one man, one vote. So we didn't touch 1, 2, or 3. 4, 5, and 6, all either, let's see, it is 5 that needed to give up some population, and then 4 and 6 both needed to gain a little population to get into, to compliance with one man, one vote. And I'm gonna step over here to the map that, I apologize again, you'll have a copy tomorrow. What we ended up doing is Ward 5, since it needs to give up population, and you have Ward 4 and 6, we ended up kind of moving the areas around. So on the maps that you'll get in this one that you can look at, this dark red line is your existing ward boundaries as they are today. The shading underneath is where the changes were made. So Ward 5 was giving up population. So what we did was move into this area that is Trussell Road and Corinth Road. There's an area there that was able to achieve the goal that to get the total deviation under 10%, preserve one man, one vote. And by moving this into Ward 4, Ward 6 needed to have some population, so we moved that line that was along East 7th, Main Street, Cartersville Road, and Hillcrest Loop. That area went from Ward 4 to Ward 6 to get us into balance. Well, what that left us was Ward 2 then became your highest deviation at 3.3%, and Ward 5 became the lowest deviation at negative 3.8%. So that gets us to 7.1%. We're looking at that number being 10% to be in compliance with one man, one vote. And then on page 6, this is just a little bit of a graphical representation to show where you were out of balance at the 18.8% for your total deviation. And then at that time, Ward 4 and Ward 5 had the most, the highest and lowest deviation. And then page 7 shows what the new consultant 1 plan is that we put together in the office is at that 7.1%, with your highest deviation being 3.3% and your lowest being negative 3.8% for that 7.1 total. And then I'm not going to go through the individual, but on page 8 through 13, that just gives an individual breakdown to show where your individual wards fall within the ideal population and that deviation, and then what your racial composition of each of the wards is with the consultant 1 plan. And again, you know, we're more than happy to change this. This is just kind of our first take on it of, you know, moving around the census blocks to get the city within compliance with one man, one vote in the redistricting process. Mayor, that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions from you or the board.
The dots on there is where current aldermen live, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So nobody got food drawn out of there. Nobody's sharing a board.
You just email it, you're gonna get Craig.
I moved it over there.
Can we buy that to a better house?
Yes, sir. If we live there, we'll do it.
Any questions, Kenny? Anybody out in the audience?
Well, sir, let me ask a question. I sent some information because we know there's growth in certain areas. And one of the things that, when we first talked about it, is it can be anticipatory growth based on, we know, land mass, subdivisions, buildings, construction, so we've already approved. And that could be, you know, because like I said, you don't want to approve something that's already pretty high and then know that, hey, within the next 10 years, we're assuming we're going to grow some in some of these areas with subdivisions. So if we anticipate that we're going to gain 100 in a subdivision, and we're, you know, that can be factored in and still keep within those 3%, you know, that within that range. Was that factored in at all?
So
Or did you just
unfortunately,
take raw data from the census and didn't do any sort of anticipatory thought without? You can do that within the legal constraints of redistricting, because like I said, we don't want to go 2 years and we're already out of whack. And that happens a lot when you do redistricting and don't take growth into consideration.
yeah, and And it does happen. Unfortunately, there's, and I can't remember, there's public law census data that comes out that's on this decennial census. It's used for redistricting. It's taken on April 1st of 2020 for the next 10 years. That's what we're supposed to use as that redistricting data that's provided.
Don't disagree with that at all, but as part of the analysis, what was given to us and what was told, that you would, we could input that, say, hey, this is where we know this from. This is where we already have houses going in. Matter of fact, we've had 5 houses already built since the last census. That's 10 more people in that one subdivision.
Yeah.
And we know that's coming up. So if you can keep that within the numbers and keep within your data stream,
yeah,
you're actually, you're future proof, you're trying to get some future proofing ourselves for not giving that one vote. And that's not done at all. You haven't done any of that work.
So, we wouldn't know those situations on the ground. That's something better served.
Yeah, I provided all that data to them, in the email.
Yeah.
I'll resend it. Yes.
Okay.
I'll send you all.
Awesome. There, any other questions? In theory, obviously, we don't want to carry too long, but, obviously we want to take the time for everyone to look at it and see what they're comfortable with, all the stuff. So, anyway, I appreciate the information. And we'll take a look at this, and I would think over the next few meetings, we'll, approve it in some form or fashion. We'll come back to you guys and tweak it a little bit. But anyway, thanks for coming down.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Mike, we said hello.
Will do.
Alrighty, nothing to vote on there. Alrighty, number 6, is there a motion, request to accept an MOU with the Department of Finance regarding funds from HB 1353? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
A second. That's for, yeah.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Number 7, request to dispose of one cordless impact wrench, asset number 3037. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Mike, you don't think that could be big? No, it's coming out of your budget now. You got nothing in your budget behind you?
Request to send the following vehicles to auction: a 2014 Dodge Charger, a 2013 Ford Expedition, a 2009 Ford Crown Vic, 2009 Ford Crown Vic, and another 2009 Ford Crown Vic. Now these aren't the cream puff, is it?
No, sir.
Okay.
We'll never let cream puff go.
Good. I'm very, and then another 2009. That was a hot model back in 09.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chief, what's the guy, what's the, when are we gonna get new ones on?
They're in the process now. We've got some marked units already, being rolled out, and the first unmarked got rolled out today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I got used to you in the truck. I'm gonna
The thing drive
kind
good.
of screwed up now.
I'm on. Gotta keep you guessing, man.
Yeah, that's right. All right, got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 9, request to trade another Ford Crown Vic. Check with which auction does this go to? Anyone out there watching this?
Yes, Martin.
If you're looking for a Crown Vic. To Custom Auto Creations in exchange for labor to install new graphics on 2 existing Dodge Chargers. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We can't, you just give split them up among the city.
That's right. See, you don't need no 09 Crown Vic, do you?
No, that's too good.
I see Josh kind of sneaking in the seat. Josh is getting real scared back there, but, Amy, where?
She left.
She don't-
She hears you now. She's still in the hallway.
It's an 09 with 210,000 miles. What do you mean? Already got a motion, got a second. All in favor? Number 10, request to maintain 8 streetlights in the Castlewood subdivision, phase 1. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
A second for discussion on that. My understanding is we have some new streetlights that were put up by a developer, and we want the city to take over maintenance on them.
Correct. You
This
probably
is
know,
similar-
Mike, you probably know a little bit more about this, don't you? Amy, I'm sorry.
But go ahead.
Go
I was gonna say,
ahead.
this is a similar situation to the Williamsburg subdivision that we brought up here, and this seems to be the solution I was looking for. And I wasn't planning on bringing this up or anything, but I would request to amend the motion to include this other neighborhood also. It's the same problem, same issue, and this would fix.
What's going on? We were trying to get those lights back on in Williamsburg. What was going on with that?
We did, but the
Some of them
ones
didn't
that are
have
out,
power, right?
there's no houses there for those lights to operate off of.
So there's no power.
The transformer.
Right, no transformers.
But do we have possession? Are those our lights now, the ones that do work? I guess in theory, they should all be ours.
Yes, but no, the cost was
No,
way more than what this would be. This is just a monthly maintenance, for service. The lights are already there.
Now, are we paying, and I'm sorry to
No,
read,
no, no,
but it's a
no,
very
that's
similar
good.
conversation.
Yeah.
I think we're paying power to these lights that can't come on. If my understanding is
Oh,
correct.
you're talking about at Williamsburg, right?
Yes.
And Williamsburg, we should only be paying for the ones that are
That
lit.
are lit.
In
right.
theory, though, and throughout the city, if it's off, they're,
We're paying for
it
it,
either
right?
way. I think that's a little different situation, but we have lights now, don't we?
Yeah, but
That was a
they,
little trickier
but they
because the
said
developer
that
wasn't,
there's
isn't
no
around now.
transformers for these lights, for all of them, because everything's not developed. Whereas in Castlewoods, it's all there,
So in Williamsburg, we've got everyone lit that we can light.
that we can light.
Okay. And we're paying the bill.
That's what I.
Okay.
Just for the ones that they're working, right?
Right, that are working.
Okay, well, I'll rescind what I said and
I'll
follow
double check
that up
too.
another time,
Sounds
because
good.
I am seeking solutions for that.
Yeah.
For that neighborhood. So thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yeah, no,
But just a follow-up, so we're accepting these go on our asset inventory? So will we own these poles? And so let's say if they need to be repainted or straightened up, is that on us or are we just paying
The poles
electrical
belong
bills?
to the power company, we just pay a maintenance fee, like for service, or to have the bulbs replaced.
Okay, so we're basically just paying for the, so if it needs to be
Right, like we
repainted,
do the rest of the
yeah, if
lights.
it needs to be repainted or,
No.
that's on the power company. Okay, we're just basically turning on the power.
We
Right.
pay them for the light.
Like that. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Confusing, like I said, there's different.
And that's a big number every year. It's just a FYI every month to the residents.
It is a lot.
Every month, yeah.
And we'll have more out there, because, I mean, and this is a great subdivision being built out there, so.
Right, this is just the first phase.
Okay.
Already got a motion in?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 11, request to reappoint Bernard Jackson Senior to the Planning Commission for a term to expire in July 2027. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Hey, wait, Amy,
No, she ain't.
I'm here.
have we got, any more, who else is coming up do we have any more that's coming up?
What do they serve a 5-year term, right?
They do serve a 5-year term. Mr. Blackwell, I believe, is also due this month.
That's gonna
Now,
be,
my appointment, Mr. Jerry, that's actually taking over somebody's term.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. He took over Sean Polk's term, but I don't
who's
know,
Mr. Blackwell's?
he's Blake.
Okay,
I've
okay.
contacted Blake about it.
Okay.
so-
yeah, so got like 3 total years.
Cool. All right. Got a motion, got a second? Well, who did you say?
Yeah, Bill.
Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, number 12, request to accept the resignation of Cooper Hughes in the fire department effective July 6th. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request to purchase firefighter turnout gear, boots, and helmets from G&W Diesel for a total cost of $36.93 and 46 cents from the state rebate fund.
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, we didn't even mess with you about that, Chief.
I would let it.
Number 15, request to approve special.
You skipped.
Number 14, who said that, Josh?
I did, Tony, sorry.
Request to accept the participation agreement under the Indo settlement per Attorney General's request. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Discussion quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do I need to restrict myself in this?
It's a medical payment.
Oh, in your line of work, oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, Craig, this is Rocky. If you want to, abstain from voting on this matter, it won't hurt, and I think it's gonna pass anyway. So go ahead and abstain yourself.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention. Number 15, now the fun stuff. A request to approve specifications and advertise for bids on street overlay project. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Just the numbers on the outside, we have a list of everything that everyone submitted. What's the purpose of the numbers on the left side of, what we have in our docket?
Oh, road number 2, number 13.
Under the-
I'm gonna ask John about that. I'm sure it was when he was doing his countdowns.
I didn't know if that was just identification or anything in particular.
I'm sure they probably have in their system somewhat like that.
Okay.
I think on the map, it had them listed by numbers, that may be what that's there. Because he sent me a map of it asking about water issues or something.
So it's like prioritization.
That's, yeah.
And if I could say anything, we are somewhat walking a tightrope. I do understand when we start talking about 3% monies and splash pads, people say, well, my gosh, my road's terrible, we need to pave. This will be one of the largest paving projects in the history of this city. It's gonna take, it should, as presented, take in about 8.9 miles. Usually you can get a little bit more for the amount of money you're spending, but some of these roads are in bad. I think about more all the time. You know, you're gonna spend a little bit of premium dollars on some of these roads because they're in such bad shape. But I believe it's the board's commitment to take care of those things too. We're walking chewing gum, and it does cost more to, we used to pay 90 to 100,000 per mile for a repave, and now we're getting into the 115 to 120 range. Trying to be economical with it, but I was glad to kind of see this. This is something that will actually take place in the spring at some point. So it's not fixing to happen, but I think it was important for us to get these streets out so folks can see. It also, it doesn't show it here, but I think it may actually be in here. One of the commitments we've also made is that we wouldn't pave, and it's gonna happen, I know. We're gonna pave, and then 3 days later, we're fixing a water leak. We actually took 4 different streets, 3 I think that are listed on this agenda, where we took them out of this paving project because there's water projects that need to take place. So we'll do the water projects and then come in and pave. So there are some streets.
And let me say, my residence on Garden Lane, yours was one of them, that we really want to pave, but we need to fix the water leaks and the water problems first. Then we'll get to paving it.
Yeah, that, Highland, West 7th is another one. And we've got to look at Kettle Drive. We're not specifically sure what water project, what's actually going to take place over there. Correct, Mike?
Correct.
And then once we get that part of it, then we'll come in and be able to do that as well. So it's a commitment to take care of what's on top and what's underneath as well.
I will say, looking at this list and looking over everything, I know a lot of it will depend on budgeting and kind of the estimates that we get back, but a lot of the issues that people have been talking about are being hit by this list. I think everybody's done a really good job of going around finding their problems. I've seen some of the stuff that many of the aldermen are talking about. I know that a lot of my areas that kind of bother me the most are on here. And so thank you, Mayor, for this project. It's a massive project. Really looking forward to seeing how much of it we can get done. But
This may be something we can work on a little bit every year like this too.
This is, we're coming into a season where we'll have some resources to do some of that with internet sales tax money. It's also using John as a resource to compile this list and know where the landmines are. And he was able to make phone calls with his contacts within the industry to find out, because the thought was we could do a little, $300,000 or $400,000 paving this year. He made a few phone calls and several companies wouldn't even have bid for less than $500,000. So by using more, we're actually stretching our dollars and getting more people involved in the process. In the contract, you say, how do you do a contract now? When the numbers come back in, we may be able to add some streets, is what we always hope. But you also put in the contract that if the numbers go south, we take advantage of it by the time they do the job. If it goes north, then we would end up having to pay a little bit more, maybe have to knock off a few streets, but it protects us. It allows us to go ahead and lock in something. The danger of not doing it now and you wait till January, well, then you wouldn't be paving until October. These companies are 9 months out. It's the Super Bowl for them. So anyway, we're trying to get in line and be smart with the money as well, all at the same time. So good stuff.
And Mayor, I'd just like to add is one of the smart things that John has kind of educated us on, and I think we've all taken advantage, kind of your guys too, is, when you look at all the streets, and you got, hopefully they all get more, but, that'll be based on numbers, but, you look at, it's a concept called like lily padding. You don't just do one street and then jump half a mile and do another street. You try to take, because every time you do that, there's mobilization costs. And that's just lost money because, they'll charge us, contractor charges to pick up all this equipment and move a half a mile. So, through a lot of guys, a lot of working together, you look at where these streets are, they kind of have, they're almost like splotches. You do entire neighborhood or entire road at once. So you don't have to come back and try to, you maximize that efficiency. So, planning smartly, it's going to make us more efficient and effective. So I appreciate a lot of hard work on it to this point. So hopefully, as the numbers come back, we'll be pleased.
Appreciate the board's work getting these things into me. And since we do sometimes sell the sizzle as opposed to the steak, and I see Haskell sitting out there, so I'm going to say we're actually paving 47,027 feet. If you mumble the feet, that 47,000 sounds pretty impressive, huh, Alan? 47,000 inches. Anyway, 8.9 miles, that's a big lift for us. We have around 125 miles in the city, so it's a marathon. So anyway, appreciate everybody's work on that. But anyway, got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Number 16, request to accept the engineering agreement with Shell Dillon and Waits for water upgrades on West 7th, Highland Drive, and Garden Lane. Is there a motion? Yeah, and that's what we were just talking about, some of the ones that we do want to pay, but we need to make sure the underneath is good. And it happens, but if there's some things that we know about, we can go into computers and see if these are places that we continually get water leak calls at. We want to be proficient in taking care of them. But anyway, I got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Number 17, request to dispose of 1 table and 4 chairs in the fire department. Is there a motion? Motion second, all in favor? Number 18, request to refund cash bond in the amount of $1,500 to American Surety Company.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Request to refund cash bonds in the amount of $4,500 to American Surety Company.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Request to dispose of 1 super vac fan in the fire department, serial number 11583. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Number 21, request to adjust services billed at 108 Pine Street as follows due to a leak, water, sewer, and cells attached there. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hey, that may be one of the least we have done yet.
It makes me wonder.
And I hope, Harold, you made note of that. Steve was trying to motion that second.
Okay, I got it.
All in favor?
I was
Aye.
that amount is so low that I wonder if they know it's a one-time deal.
They
Yeah,
always
usually
have that
I try to talk them out of it, if it's that low, because then they have another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually I try to talk
We
them out of it.
approved them for $800 this year.
We did 118 last year, because I had.
All right, number 22, request to pay estimate number 4 in the amount of $1,448.111.49 to Warren and Warren for Sports Complex.
What's that number, Mayor?
$148,111.
I just want you to say that.
So is there a motion? I take that as a motion. Take that as a motion.
Is this the final, is this not the final? Or we have one more, we have a closeout section?
200 something thousand, I think it says still.
I think you're right.
Okay, got a motion, got a second?
I don't have a second.
Don't have a
Second.
second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All righty, no seminars and travel. Wow. Orders and ordinances, 23, request to adopt order transferring Jana Madison from full-time to part-time in the recreation department. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that what you want to do?
And just yet, and I'm very appreciative of Jana, she's done incredible work for us over with PSA. And she's actually got a job teaching. So she could just have told us good luck and have a nice day, but she cares enough about the kids that we're gonna get her in there and help. And we've got some other resources as well we can throw at this to make sure that everything's seamless.
Yeah, 'cause she'll help Jason kind of the final left-hand seat ride of the final sports season, so taking care of him on the way out.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor? And the mayor's report, I pretty much wrapped it up in that other stuff that we were talking about on the roads and stuff, but you're gonna start seeing some shovels hit the ground over the next few weeks. Obviously, we're fixing to get in the budget. I'll tell the board that the process, obviously, I even have to remind myself because, you know, we do it once a year. But anyway, Melissa and Doug will get together possibly sometime this week. They'll start crunching on things and we'll start getting a jam. We hope to possibly get a, wouldn't you?
Nope.
Okay. Possibly get a rough draft to everybody, maybe back in the next weekish. Okay. And I'm not calling it, but I could see us maybe at the August 2nd meeting, just having extended into a budget meeting. So we've got that.
And I'd like to say also, I know people thought this would never happen, but Chick-fil-A has got the dirt ground inside on the dirt ground.
You sure that's where they're going?
Yeah.
I hope so, because then they call for a water meter.
They're gonna have maybe they'll have a long water line, who knows, huh?
You know, that matter.
Yes.
About 20 different intersections around there.
Everything's good, the numbers are still good, obviously, so shot pedal first, all I can say. Anyway, anything from the audience?
Y'all were talking about the street. What y'all gonna do about Main Street going down across that before you cross the bridge? That road is a mess.
Oh, yeah, they're working on it, they're gonna join it up where it's supposed to.
And then y'all gonna blacktop it till they get through with the bridge, or y'all gonna leave it like that till they get
Yeah, I
the
don't know
bridge?
what how much they're gonna delay, like closing one and opening the other one. Hopefully it would be fairly seamless. If they do it right, you could darn near be like a day maybe.
And
Close one and
another,
open the other one, but I'm not even sure.
ain't no telling, probably 2 years, huh?
I will say this, I got a letter, because the train trestles, slated to be finished next August, that they've sent me an email hoping to get us to sign off to keep it like they were saying they would return it to the way it was. Well, no, we want to keep the riprap.
Yeah.
We'll keep that part of it, but I would assume we would keep the road too. I'll get you guys that information. We can look at it and see if y'all what y'all want to do with that.
And also the other road down there, like the one coming off of 42, coming down off of 42, coming down in the tail. That road may not look like it, but it's rough when you driving down that road. You don't know what I'm talking about? When they turn off to come down in the tail, that road is kind of bad too.
Hey, what road you live on?
I live on Springfield Road.
No, you don't. You're doing great.
I live on Great Cross Road.
How's your road get on here? Uh-huh.
That was a mistake.
I don't talk to Steve about it.
Huh?
I don't, but I'm telling you, it's a lamb. Gonna come all the way across the road. And I told Steve, he's not take care of it.
Mike, take care
Mike
of
got
it.
it on his list.
Oh,
And
okay,
they
good.
Way to get up there.
and they don't take care of it, y'all hear.
Good.
Oh, Mike,
All
will
right.
take care of that.
Hey, I want to request split room to determine the need for an executive session on a school board matter.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
School board, you agree? You know you were gonna get back. School board stuff.
See you tomorrow night, brother.
Mayor, and I was like,
I love that.
You can take a picture of that. Yeah, like compare that with what's on the board.
What I said, take mine. You can ask for notes on mine. I'll call you after the.
I knew that, I knew that was.
Not just.